Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Stephanie. Today I am going to share everything that I wish that I knew before I became a telehealth nurse or a remote nurse working from home. When I first started telehealth nursing, I thought it would be my absolute dream job, you guys. I was so excited. I thought to myself, I get to work from home, I get to set my own pace, I don't have to run around the hospital anymore or be exposed to sick patients. It was literally everything that I wanted, and I was excited, but at the same time, I also was very scared and nervous because I had a great job working in a clinic. Before I accepted the offer for my current job, I looked around everywhere to see people's experiences with remote work, telehealth work, nurses working from home, just so I could better prepare myself on what to expect. And honestly, I didn't find any videos or anybody really kind of into an in-depth review of what to expect. So I want to tell you guys the absolute brutal truth of what it's like working from home. Yes, there are a lot of positives, and yes, there are a lot of great things that come with it, but there are things that people didn't really tell me, and there are things that people didn't really talk about. I was in Facebook groups, you guys, and I was reading through the comments like, worth it? Is it not worth it? Depending on who you ask, there were some nurses that were like, this is not for me, I have to go. And some nurses were like, I've been here for years. And while that was helpful, I didn't really get like an in-depth review of what that was really like. I have worked from home for almost 4 years now, and I have had the good, the bad, the ugly. I've had it all. So I'm going to give you guys a true breakdown of what it is like working from home as a remote nurse. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is you will move less than what you think. The lack of movement in a remote nursing job, it can go without saying, but I don't think you really understand the effect that it can have on your overall health. When you work from home, you are most oftentimes than not tied down to your desk, right? Companies measure metrics, phone time, computer usage, etc., whatever ways companies use to measure your productivity. So you are essentially bound to your desk, right? Because you have to work. You are not moving, not even a quarter of what you would move in, obviously, as a bedside nurse or even in a clinic setting. You're not having to get up in the morning and walk to your car. You're not having to get out of your car and walk to your office or walk inside the hospital. Your lunch break, you're out walking around. When you get home, you're walking around. You're not doing any of that. So your movement and your ability to take care of your body needs to be top priority. And I'm going to tell you why from experience, but you seriously have to be a disciplined individual, because if not, you will just become like a bump on a log. You will just sit at that desk and work for 8 hours a day. And that is not good for your back, for your posture, for your overall health. Like, just not good to just sit in one spot. You can get up and stretch your legs, but you really need that movement of moving your legs. And it is really easy when you first accept a remote job role to just be excited to have the role and say, hey, I'm at my home, I can kind of do this, I can do that. And some people kind of in a routine and they say that they're going to do certain things, like I'm going to get up and walk, I'm going to get up and exercise, and then they get in a routine and they don't do any of that. And I have that from experience. So my first year working from home, I never left my house. It was honestly toxic. I never left my house because, one, it was the novelty of a work from home job that I absolutely loved. I didn't need to leave my house, so it felt like a luxury. I also didn't feel the need to go anywhere. And that caught up to me at exactly the 1 year mark. I started my remote job in January, and in December, I got the sickest I had ever been. I caught flu, I caught pneumonia, I caught COVID. And this was all within 1 month's time. And it was scary. I've never been sick before. I'm actually really healthy. I take care of myself. I eat well. And I had never been so sick before. And I was confused as to why. And I had gone to the doctor's office and they had told me that my vitamin D levels were super low. And that's because I never left my house. You need sunlight. You need nature. You need fresh air. And it was clear that I was not getting those things working from home. So trust me when I tell you that you need to make getting outside a priority, not only for your physical health, but your mental health, your emotional health. And so it is so important to get outside and walk. And now I have made it a point every day when I get up, I go for a walk, no matter how I feel. That helps me get my day started. And I'm much more productive as a worker, as a mom, as a wife, and I feel better. Every day you need to get up and walk, especially if you are considering getting a job that is work from home, either nursing or otherwise. You need to make your your exercise a priority. Additionally, when I get off work, I try to take a lap outside or I try to go to the store, and that kind of disconnects me from my work and my personal life, if that makes sense. I'm clocking out of work, but I don't really clock out because it's my house. So I make an effort to leave my house in some way. People really underestimate how important movement is. I have developed neck pain, especially from the monitor and being hunched over. I have had coworkers develop blood clots. So it really is something that you need to seriously think about. And if it's something that you want, because it is worth it, you need to be proactive in taking care of your physical body. If you do this job long enough, you will feel the effects of it. Another thing that I want to talk about is the mental and social isolation that comes when you work from home. Now, I have been in my current role for almost 4 years now, so I can tell you it gets lonely, okay? I didn't realize how much I miss in-person interactions until I got to this job. Like, you don't get to have lunch with coworkers. You don't get to engage in hospital or office banter. You're just alone. We do communicate through Teams. So there is some banter going on in Teams, some memes being sent and things like that, but there's nothing that can replace face-to-face interaction, and you don't get that. So you need to make sure that you have a very strong emotional support system, that you have strong friendships outside of this, because it will literally eat you up. You need human interaction. You need it for your emotional well-being. And so it is so important that in a role like this, that you make time to hang out with friends, that you maybe join a fitness gym, you join like any clubs, anything like that to help improve your mental and social well-being, which is critical. When you've been working remote as long as I have, or if you're coming into it new, you need to learn that communication feels different. You are not picking up on these verbal, nonverbal cues when you're speaking to someone face to face. Everything that you are doing, any way you communicate, is going to be either through your Teams chat with your coworkers or on the phone if you're doing telehealth with a patient. And so you really need to be able to pick up on pauses, inflections in speech, tones in typing and things like that, because you are not having those nonverbal cues in an open communication when you're face to face with someone. So that is something that you definitely need to adjust for and prepare for, because it is totally different. I love that I can work from home. The flexibility is amazing, but you need to be so disciplined. When I say you need to be so disciplined, my first year I was not. I would roll out of bed, I would brush my teeth out on my break, and I just felt like the days were passing me by, and I felt like a groundhog, almost like, I was getting things done, but in a sense, I didn't feel very accomplished, and I didn't feel fulfilled for a little bit because I wasn't making an effort to take care of myself. Work-life balance is completely different. I thought that I would have so much more time for my family, for my personal life, and yes, you do a little bit, but there is a transition. So for example, I would pack my lunch for work, or I would go out to eat with my coworkers, and that was my lunch break. Here, I don't have food packed, so even though I get a lunch break or I get off for lunch, I still have to come downstairs and prepare something. So that kind of eats into your day. You don't have ready prepared meals for you as you did in the office or in the hospital. You actually have to take that effort to make something for yourself, and that cuts into your day. So that sometimes takes more time because you have to prepare the food, you have to cook it, and then you have to clean up after yourself. And that's an everyday thing. So that can get a little bit annoying at times because you constantly have to prepare your food. My breakfast, my lunch, those aren't already prepared. I have to take time out of my day to make those things. What you can do is you can have ready-made meals or meal prep on Sunday for the week, and then that can buy some of your time back. But that is something to consider. Not only that, but because you are at home, you are able to become more distracted, as opposed if you go into a building, an office, hospital, etc. What happens here at home is staying at home, because you are at work and you are nowhere near your house. You don't know what's going on. You will deal with all things house problems when you get off work. But if you work from home, you are constantly distracted. I used to spend my breaks and my lunch break cleaning the house nonstop. And then what time did that leave for myself? Very little. So now I don't do those things. I try to get some laundry done in the morning and then when I get off work. But on my breaks, I spend that time to unwind, to sit down, take a breather. That is a positive, but every day will really tire you out. And that was what was happening to me. I was tiring myself out trying to get get all these extra house duties done during my breaks that I really didn't have any time for myself to rest, because as soon as I got off work, my kids were home, and then it's mom duty and wife duty after that. So without having a job that I actually go out to, I feel like it's so important to have that me time, if that makes sense. So like I mentioned earlier in the video, if you are considering taking a remote job, these are things that you absolutely have to do. Health and routine are everything. And if you do it right, you will reap the rewards and it'll pay off in dividends compared to having a job outside of the house. Make sure that you are waking up at a decent time and going to bed at a decent time. Just because you work from home does not mean that you can go to bed at midnight, which I have done, and then wake up at 6 a.m. to get the kids ready for school, and then you're tired and groggy all day, but because you're home, you're just kind of shuffling by. It is so important to have a routine, to go to sleep every night at the same time, wake up in the morning at the same time, make sure that you are washing your face, brushing your teeth, getting up and showing out, getting ready for the day. You don't have to do your makeup, you don't have to put on a whole outfit, but just change out of your pajamas at the least and put your hair back. Make that part of your routine so you feel fresh and ready for the day. Make sure that you're eating a good breakfast. Everything that you would do outside of work for work, you want to do here in the house for work, if that makes sense. So make sure you're eating a breakfast, and make sure you have the luxury of being at home. So make sure that it is a nutritious breakfast. Make sure you're not having to eat out at Taco Bell or Whataburger or In-N-Out or Chick-fil-A or whatever it is that you go to when you're in a rush and you didn't pack lunch the day before. So these are all things that can really pay off in the long run if you take the time to be disciplined and take care of yourself every single day. And of course, move your body. That is so important, you guys. I'm walking at the minimum every single day, 1 or 2 miles, doing some like cardio, doing weightlifting, things that are going to stimulate your muscles, because sitting down all day is not good for you, I promise. I know that was a lot, but I just really hope that this kind of opens eyes to what it's really like working from home. It has been a great job. I have worked here for 4 years, and now I'm like, what else am I going to do? I can't leave my job. Like, this is such a good job. But it took time and dedication to kind of get at and say, I am at a good place and I have good work-life balance and I'm taking care of myself and I feel healthy and happy and emotionally and physically taken care of. And so if you are wanting a remote job, if you are considering getting a remote job, if you are pending a job offer from a remote job, these are things that you have to consider. These are things that you have to know going into it. And I promise you, it will make all the difference. It'll pay off tremendously if you do these things in conjunction with working from home. So I know this video was very long-winded, but I had a lot to say. And so if you did enjoy this content, I do ask that you please consider subscribing, drop a comment down below, or consider giving my video a thumbs up. If you do want a video on the entire pros and cons of telehealth nursing, I did a more deep dive video. I can go ahead and link that one down below. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.